It is simple. The Toronto Maple Leaf season has been a disaster. From injuries to individual performances and now ticket sales, the alarms are ringing in Toronto. Of course, there is a lot of debate of what exactly is wrong in Toronto. Is it the coach that has this team in a free fall, or is it the players and the lack of execution that has left this team in Bettman's basement? Well, let's take a deeper look. Now, this certainly isn't the first time this core of players have been under fire with the coach on the hot seat. First it was Mike Babcock, then it was Sheldon Keefe, and now it is Craig Berube in the crossfire. But really, you can go down the list of issues wrong with this team. You got star players saying that they've never been through something like this before. The power play is so bad it got the assistant coach fired, and no one knows whether the captain is hurt or got his powers stolen from the Monstars in Space Jam. And perhaps the scariest of it all for the shareholders at MLSC is that ticket sales are down, so now the real panic starts. The Leafs are caught in probably one of the worst spots possible as a sports team. Considering they traded their first overall pick to Boston this season, it's only protected if they finish in the bottom 5 of the league. Any higher and another Leaf draft pick becomes a Bruins legend. That's just the way she goes. The alternative is them climbing out of this hole and finding a way to somehow get back into the playoffs. But is that even possible? Well, first we got to understand what's going wrong, and we're going to start with the power play, since it is historically bad right now, operating at 13%, dead last in the league, despite having all the talent in the world. For majority of this season, the Leafs have played a 1-3-1 that had Morgan Rielly at the point, Auston Matthews on the right flank, Nylander on the left, Tavares in the bumper, and Nyes on the goal line. 2 words describe the Leafs' power play this season: stagnant and predictable. Since Rielly doesn't have a bomb from the point, most penalty killers know that the main look Toronto's going for is the one-time option to Matthews or Nylander. It looks promising and all flashy, but unless it's the perfect shot or screen, it's a relatively easier save. Of course, with Marc Savard losing his job, they put all the formations in the blender. They tried overloading down low, having 4 Leafs in the vicinity with Nylander on the right flank, but no one here is in a one-time position, so that didn't work. They tried to have 2 high with 3 forwards down deep. That didn't work either, and with only 12 power play goals on the season, something had to change. Now, personally, what I would do is switch the Leafs flanks by having Matthews move to the left and Nylander to the right, while swapping Tavares and Nyes down low. If you go back to the 22-23 season, the Leafs had one of the best power plays in the league with the same personnel minus Mitch Marner, but they still had Matthews and Nylander on their strong side flanks in this 1-3-1. Having them on their strong side opens up far more options than just the one-time blast, especially if both flanks curl up high with the D, or Rielly in this case, and create space to attack downhill with the puck. From this loaded or dual threat position, Matthews and Nylander can be far more dynamic. They can look for a bumper pass, a cross-seam play backdoor, a goal line play down low, or they can just flat out rip it. At the same time, it also makes Morgan Rielly way more of a shooting threat. It's a lot easier to make this pass on your forehand while on the flank as opposed to trying to make it on your backhand. As for Nyes and Tavares, I think Tavares has way more of a playmaker's touch to provide that optionality on the goal line if they want to create that bumper or cross-seam play. Marner is a big loss, but they still have the personnel and talent to be a fantastic power play as we've seen in the past. But hey, and again, I'm sure they'll figure it all out now that they've fired their assistant coach. Of course, coaching in general is where most of the heat lies as of right now. When the Leafs hired Craig Berube, there was a direct change in their play style. They became much more of a forecheck reliant team that was supposed to translate into more playoff success. It did work last year. They took the defending cup champs to 7 games. I mean, they did get embarrassed in game 7, but who cares? It was progress. This year, they came in with no Marner, a batch of new faces, and a commitment to play the Berube style of hockey that worked last year. This season, though, started poorly. Below average goaltending mixed with injury troubles did not help at all, but more concerningly, their execution was simply way off. We broke this down on the channel not too long ago, but the Leafs' woes were certainly fixable. They lost a lot of games due to simple mental errors that just didn't align with how the Leafs could play at their best. Early on this year, they had one of the best offenses in the league, but it came at a sacrifice of what made them so steady the year prior. Whether it was poorly mistimed reads by the F3 that led to a highway of rush chances against, or forced stretch plays that led to high danger turnovers, the execution from this group of players simply wasn't there. Now, fast forward to present day, and now the offense has dried up without anything else getting much better. Just look at these numbers. They are 27th in shot attempts, 29th in slot shots, 29th in ozone possession, and last in both cycle and rebound chances. The numbers don't lie. The Leafs offense want to start most of their attack off of a dump in. From there, they run a 1-2-2 forecheck that was at one point this season the most effective team in the league at creating goals off a turnover. But beyond that, there just isn't much sustained pressure for Toronto to build momentum and swing games into their favor. Berube's offense is simple. When they get possession, the structure shifts into this 2-1-2. They prefer to go low to high, have traffic in front, throw pucks on net, and use effort and numbers to win 50-50 pucks beyond that. It's pretty much identical to Florida's shoot and retrieve system that had carried them to success. It does work. When the system is played right, the Leafs are an effective team, but it doesn't exactly lean into the strengths of the team's best offensive players. Nylander hasn't scored in 11 games, Tavares has 2 goals in his past 14 games, and Matthews only has 14 goals on the season. And that's a big one because the offensive struggles of the team closely relate to what's ailing Matthews. The man who once scored 69 goals just 2 years ago is a complete shell of his dominant self. Some people think it's because he's hurt, some people blame the system, others think it's a lack of Marner, but all of it has got fans questioning his ability to lead this team. The truth is that it's a little bit of everything. It's no secret, Matthews' shot power and skating speed have taken a noticeable dip. But he's 28, so I doubt age is the reason why he's slowing down. He's clearly dealing with something, and it's noticeable during certain plays as well. Where he would have in the past had the confidence to step in and use his fastball, which is a shot, you can see he chooses to defer more times than usual. To me, at times, it looks like he doesn't fully trust his capabilities, which is a scary feeling as a confident player. Next is the system and the loss of Marner. Let's start off the rush here because Auston Matthews has never been the player to burn guys with speed. Being a shooter first, he doesn't really thrive in the ability to hold on to the puck off an entry, delay, and create a play. Instead, he's always preferred a much more give-and-go style in game. You can see with how much he defers to his wingers on most controlled zone entries. Matthews will frequently gain the blue line, kick it out wide, and then drive the middle lane to back up the D and open up a cross-seam play, or attack the heels of the D to give his winger an option to get the puck back for a quick chance. It's a fundamental center lane drive that works really well with Matthews' game, but without a winger to claim that space or use it effectively to create a better play, rush plays are frequently dying on Matthews' wing. The only other player that can do what Marner did in terms of delaying, holding on to pucks, and finding seams is Nylander, which is why of late to get anything going, they put him on Matthews' wing to get some better looks. However, the Leafs are a deeper team when Nylander and Matthews are on different lines, and sure enough, as soon as Nylander went off of Matthews' line, he had a huge 4-point night. Then you have the in-zone offense, which also doesn't favor the Leafs' offensive weapons. Offensive creation in the modern NHL has become more and more about creating quality shots over quantity. We've seen teams with elite talent put this into practice by exploiting teams high in the zone. You'll notice teams with high-end players like McKinnon or Hughes slip into this 2-3 structure so that they can create these tiny 2v1s up high and attack downhill with speed. Like I've said, the Leafs are more concerned with having their 3 forwards down low to win a battle, go low to high, and get pucks through traffic. The issue with this is that it tends to create low percentage shots, few quality rebound chances, and overall less possession. Of course, that explains all their current offensive ranks. This is quite different from Sheldon Keefe's system 2 years ago when Matthews scored 69 goals. Toronto frequently had their most talented players hold on to pucks, swing up high while defenders got off the blue line, and it opened up all kinds of unique looks for the Leafs' best players. You'd also see a lot of these scissor routes between Matthews and Marner's high in the zone to have them create all kinds of confusion. That is something that we've seen Draisaitl and McDavid master over the last few seasons, and one really effective way to leverage 2 high-end talents on the same line. However, last year under Berube, the Matthews and Marner combo still found a way to have some success with a more traditional style of offense. Matthews could still find these soft spots to be the trigger man with Marner's ability to take pucks off the wall down low and funnel it into high danger areas. But even with Marner, Matthews' production slipped even further under Berube. Dom Lucian from The Athletic had a great piece that tracked every Matthews 5-on-5 goal scored over the past 3 seasons and measured how much space Matthews had at the time of receiving a pass during in-zone offense and how often he scored with space. Just looking at this chart, the drop-off is staggering. Even with Marner last season, the manufacturing of offensive space has dropped significantly under Craig Berube. And you see it in the tape too. In pockets of space where plays could be made in the high seam, the direct MO is to get bodies to the net, leading for Matthews to forego potential high-quality chances in favor of the system. Even here, Matthews has the opportunity to potentially swing high into this soft spot and create a really unique look. But instead, he pivots away from the middle, dives into a wall of coverage, and the Leafs settle for a one-timer from the concession stand with no chance of scoring a goal. Now, as a possession-driven player, you'll often see Nylander being the high forward in a 2-3 look to maximize his touches and attack downhill. However, because the Leafs D-core isn't built with an offensive touch and Matthews is tasked with being one of the two forwards down low, Nylander is often left on an island up there to make things happen. So you get a lot of this. Instead of Matthews swinging up high to work off of the talented Nylander and extend the possession to create a more dangerous look, he stays down low hoping for a prayer pass through traffic. Nylander says, I'm not going to force that. And again, with the whole MO being to get pucks to the net with bodies, they end up torching a potential promising ozone possession with a floater from the point that gets blocked. At some point, despite a commitment to play to the system, the players just stop believing in it altogether when the results go this bad for this long. But that being said, this is just as much as a personnel issue as it is a coaching issue. From the top down, this team isn't built properly. They're a team tasked to play an identity that doesn't suit it at its core. And it's also a core that has done very little to deserve the benefit of the doubt from anyone around the league. From the top down, it seems like no one is quite on the same page. And what you get is this disaster of a season so far. So what do you think of the Toronto Maple Leafs this year? Is there any way they find a way back into the playoffs? Let me know what changes you would make in the comments down below. And as always, if you want more NHL content along with weekly recaps every Sunday, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so that you don't miss a single thing.